You hear it? All right. Here we are. Ethan Nicolle here in the Babylon Bee.
And I'm
your editor-in-chief, Kyle Mann.
Hi. We're here to do a live question and answer session against our better judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've gathered here. This is my man cave with board games everywhere.
This is the best backdrop we could find.
This is the best backdrop that we could find. So against our better judgment, we are doing this for you. We got a list of questions from people who subscribe to the Babylon Bee, and we're going to go ahead and go through them, and hopefully it will not be too painful for you.
Yeah, and the quick explanation of what happened here is we had sent this out in an email to our subscribers. We've been working on our perks for subscribers, so this was going to be privately sent out and then shared later, but we ended up doing it on Facebook today for all sorts of reasons. But so you get to see this, but if you want to submit prioritized questions, join our subscription.
That's it. So here's the first question. This is from Colin McMahon, and he is one of our subscribers. And he says...
Yes. I'm confirming that we can see ourselves.
I'm in the middle of a sentence here, man.
All right, go ahead.
He says, "O great apostles of satire, where did the idea for the Babylon Bee come from? How did you all get started? And where do you see the Babylon Bee in the next 5 years?" I kind of feel like this is a job interview.
Yeah, it's a job interview.
And
what does this ink blot mean to you?
Yeah, I don't know. Where do I see myself in 5 years? You know, the idea for the Babylon Bee was created by a man named Adam Ford, who's not with us today. I mean,
he's alive.
He's alive, but he's not here.
He created it. Oh, he's our Bhagwan.
Yeah. he's our ancestor, and he created it about 3 years ago, and I joined shortly after, and Ethan joined us about a year and a half ago, writing articles and doing Photoshops and stuff. So that's where it came from. Adam kind of saw a space for Christian satire in the online marketplace. There wasn't really anybody doing that, at least not on the level that we were doing it in terms of frequency. You know, so we do quite a bit of it, and people weren't constant. People weren't really tackling current events and stuff like Adam wanted to see. So that's where the idea came from.
Yeah, I was just a fan.
And
I kept trying to get in touch with Kyle, like, I want to be part of this.
Yeah. Ethan was kind of a crazy fan, you know. I
wouldn't leave him alone. I was hanging out outside his house.
I caught him in the bushes a few times, and eventually we relented and let him.
I kept nailing headlines to his door.
As far as where we'd like to see the Babylon Bee in 5 years, I have no idea. We want to do more kinds of content for you guys, more kinds of video. We're working on a podcast. That's something that should be coming up pretty soon for you. So all kinds of content that we want to do, but that's kind of how we're going to grow things.
But yeah, 5 years though, we're talking theme parks, arcade games. Well, arcade games are kind of a dated thing. Whatever. Water slides, that'd be part of the theme park. All right, let's move on.
We're moving up. It's over.
Televangelism station. Take over TBN.
We're gonna have a channel. We're gonna have a show on TBN, and that's our goal. Asking for money and sitting in gold.
We're gonna have
chairs.
our own mega church that's just completely sarcastic.
I'm gonna have pink hair, a big old pink afro. So, Kyle and Ethan, what is your religious denomination? And this is from Brian Nomi. So thanks for the question, Brian. We're both Muslims. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We're gonna get in trouble for that.
Yeah, we shouldn't say that.
Yeah, both of us are Christians.
Just normal Christians.
Normal, like generic, like you go buy
standard.
You go buy the store brand cereal.
All-purpose, generic, all-purpose Christian.
That's kind of where
it comes in the white bag with the black text on it.
I've bounced around to a few different churches since I was young, and I usually end up at non-denominational churches that are like actually Baptist.
Okay.
You know, in secret.
Sneaky Baptists.
Yeah, but they don't tell you that up front.
Okay.
And you find out too late once they're shoving you under the water. And
I started out as my parents were like, they were going to like Nazarene church when I was a kid, and then they divorced, and my dad started going to a crazy Pentecostal church, and my mom went Roman Catholic. So on my alternating weekends, I was going to those two different kinds of churches, back and forth. I was so confused about who God was and what Jesus was like, because one place he was like an insane person, and he was like a funeral at the other place. So I did my whole 12-year-old fall away type thing, and then when I started choosing to go to church for myself, I went to these community church.
So you had your
standard.
You had your rebellious phase where you listened to Tooth and Nail records bands.
I didn't feel that was like me being a good boy, because after I burned all my grunge CDs from the 90s. Yeah.
So you actually had actual rebellion.
I had actual rebellion. Yeah.
All right, our subscriber Eric Rodewig says most satire is left wing. How are you guys able to create such successful right wing content?
As you can see us sitting in our golden chairs in our mansion of board games.
Very successful satire. We've bought hundreds of
I
board
always
games.
think monetary success, because I'm greedy.
We don't really even classify the Babylon Bee as right wing necessarily. It's
or as satire.
Or as satire. Or as funny. We don't really classify it as anything. But no, we don't really classify it as right wing on its face. But a lot of satire. There wasn't really much satire going in the direction of criticizing the left. So I would say we're less right wing as we are, just critical.
It's more that,
especially of the left.
The left-leaning jokes, there's so many already that there's just this chasm for right-wing humor and conservative jokes to poke fun at the left. So I think that's a big part of it. And there's just jokes that are off limits if you're on the left. So you can't make jokes at the expense of Planned Parenthood ever. No, you can't do that. You can't make jokes that are that make Christians look like the good guys, or anything like that, or jokes that are even that might suggest that Trump isn't all bad, anything like that. There's this whole no man's land of things you can't joke about if you're on the left. So it leaves it wide open, and then I think that the unique place that the Bee carves out, and I'm saying this as a guy who's only I've come into the Babylon Bee. I'm not one of the original. Kyle's OG. He goes back to the first, pretty much day one.
I was going to do a gang sign, but I don't know which ones are actually
Babylon gang sign.
We'll come up with something.
Yeah, you need two left hands to do it. Is that on top of there is a humor landscape for right wing, but it's very snarky and it's more underground and very mean, and naturally by being Christian satire, we have this boundary line that we're boxed into of we can't go too far. I can't tell all my head chopping jokes I want to tell.
Well, you can go too far, but
yeah.
I will.
Kyle reins me in.
I will stop the joke before you guys see it. So thank me for my service.
So I think it creates a unique brand of humor that's conservative humor, but it's not because there's also clean humor that can it's so safe. It's it's VeggieTales for adults. No offense to the VeggieTales fans.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much left-wing satire out there. Every late show, every comedian, that as soon as something happens, every single possible joke has been told within 2 minutes on Twitter from that perspective. So for us to go from the other angle, there's just so much more space, and we do try to criticize some of our own positions, some conservative positions as well, when we feel that that's appropriate. So thank you for the question, Eric. All right, here's a good question from Miranda Thronberg. And Thronberg, I like that last name. Are there any jokes you've had to not post because you realized after they were in bad taste? Or are there any jokes you've published that you wish you hadn't? Or have you posted a joke that everyone said you should be ashamed for posting?
Oh, yeah.
but still stand by it completely. The earliest occurrence of this was all of our OG, there's that gang sign again, but all of our OG followers will remember just a couple months into the life of the Babylon Bee, we published a joke about Jan Crouch, who had just died. And we were still kind of learning what it was to post jokes on the internet.
What is it to post jokes
what is
on the
this?
internet?
What is this internet thing? We didn't know what the internet was. Well, I think in a lot of ways, like, we didn't realize how much reach we had. You know, to us it was still kind of this niche, like, you know, Christians, conservative theology realm within Christianity, just making jokes and trying to make a point or whatever. And that we made a joke about her. It wasn't really about her. It was more about other prosperity gospel preachers. But it was on the day that she died, and we kind of realized that there's like a kind of a
like the gist of the joke was that the other prosperity gospel preachers were kind of confused by how when somebody preaches prosperity could die, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of...
So the last part of her question was, you know, are there things that are there jokes that you stand by? I mean, we stand by the joke, like it was making a good point, I think. And but like I woke up in the morning the next day and like Fox News had an article about it. I'm like, whoa, this is. So I think we realized that there's a lot of different things you have to weigh when you post a joke. Like, you know, maybe it's making a good point, but maybe it's not going to be taken that way, you know, by a lot of people.
Yeah, something when you're publicly making jokes is that I've learned is every joke you make publicly as a comedian type person, whatever you want to call us. You shouldn't call yourself one. You should have people call you it, but is that you are planting a flag in it. So you got to stand by it once it's out there.
Yeah, we've very rarely.
Yeah, have you ever actually taken a joke down? I want to answer this. He's afraid to admit it.
I don't know.
The feed goes red.
I think we've deleted things like a long time later, like when it came, like maybe it was resurfacing and people were taking it in the wrong context.
Like the drawing of Muhammad you guys did. They didn't do one. So.
No, we did not do that. Yeah, so I think we've done a little bit of, I don't know, when the outrage mob comes, usually, like you said, you've kind of got to, you kind of have to stand strong, or the comedy doesn't really work on its own.
Yeah, and then that goes viral that you took it down. You know, it's probably smart. Wait till it all dies down. All right, next question. This looks long.
This is from Titus.
It's from Louisiana. Are you gonna do a Louisiana accent?
Titus from Louisiana. Titus Belgard.
Titus is a sweet name.
And he's asking about our paid subscribers have access to a headline forum where we pitch jokes.
Which is a good answer to the question that I keep seeing pop up already on our feed right here from these people. How do we submit headlines?
Oh, yeah.
One of the great ways is to become a subscriber. You can join this little forum and you can submit them, and ones that get voted up to the top, we see those, and yeah.
So he says, first of all, he calls himself humble, Titus, with the hashtag humble.
Okay.
And he says, are there any subscriber pitches that are considered out of bounds? Have you ever banned anybody from the forum for going out of bounds?
For making dirty headline ideas?
Actually, one nice thing about the paid forum is that when people are paying money, they tend to not misbehave.
It weeds all the jerks out.
Yeah. Most of the internet forums that I've been a part of, like, that are just like this wide open, like the Babylon Bee Facebook group that we created.
Yeah,
it's like a total disaster and just absolute madness and chaos. And it's because anybody can join it.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what kind of a monster we were creating. So we're considering ways to destroy all of you in the Facebook group.
Yeah, some kind of worldwide flood.
We're thinking about it. We're trying to figure out the best way. But anyway, a paid forum tends to weed out a lot of
trolls are cheap.
A lot of kooks. Yeah, and they won't. Most people won't pay $5 a month or whatever to join your forum and then just be a jerk. So we actually, I don't think we've had any problems in the forum with anybody really going too far out of bounds. And if they did, I mean, we have the tools to.
Yeah, we just probably delete the headline. If they keep doing it, we delete them.
Delete them from existence. All right, here's a great question from Patty Nevins, and she says, "How can we best pray for you in your ministry / outreach / profit-making business venture?"
That makes me feel a lot better about what we're doing.
So how can Patty best
be prayed for? I think wisdom to not go over the line. I think that's always the risk in comedy, is that you get to keep your point of view on what, you know, that the joke isn't about how funny you are, or, you know, and that's one thing that's kind of cool about the Babylon Bee. Until now, we've just really revealed ourselves, but it's very anonymous, so you don't get this credit. You know, there's not all these people posting like, "Oh man, Ethan's so hilarious because of this article," and I don't get it. So, and to not get hooked onto that type of feeling, and I think that, and to just avoid, I think there's always a risk of being mean in comedy, and I think in satire you really do have to you do come up close to that line, and that we're never joking so mean or so pushing it so far that we're actually turning people away from the church or from their faith. Like, I mean, I guess some of that kind of isn't really going to happen. That could be within the person's own heart, but like just writing that line, which I think that Kyle, if there's a fruit of the spirit that is having a wisdom about what comedy to post and what not to post, I think that Kyle, most people can't both write comedy and moderate comedy, but Kyle is a master of both. So what you guys don't know is that Kyle writes good 80-90% of what goes up on the Babylon Bee. So this is the guy you've been reading most of the time.
Sure.
So
I would like Patty to pray that we make a lot more money.
And pray for his humility too.
And my humility. No, I'm just kidding. It's something similar. I mean, from a creative perspective, like we pump out a ton of content, and it's like, if we don't keep a good sense of humor and a good sense of humility and a good sense of fun, then it loses its touch, I think. So I just pray that we keep that in mind, and not own the libs too hard. I mean, whatever. Gail Atterbury.
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 I don't know. Atterbury. That's like if you're training berries and you're like giving little treats and they're learning how to do berry tricks.
I really apologize if we botched your name. But thank you, Gail, for supporting us. And you ask us, have you always been this funny / sarcastic towards life? And how old are you?
You two dudes. Number 2.
I'm.
She also added, "You are awesome!" Exclamation
thanks.
point. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. How old am I?
You're young.
I'm trying to subtract.
He's young. That's why he's always making these kid jokes like about Marvel and stuff.
I am 32 years old, I think.
I'm 38.
And Ethan is 38.
Yeah.
So that's how old we are. I don't know. Have I always been funny, Ethan? I guess you just know
I've
me.
only known you for
I guess you don't know me that
less than 2 years now, but we've like hit it off. We're good buddies.
I think I was kind of a goof off growing up, so I would say yes.
I do love the idea that you were a completely serious curmudgeon that never made a joke in his life, and then the day that the Babylon Bee came, like
all of a sudden this bolt of lightning,
it just came out,
struck me from on high, and I gained the spiritual gift.
It fell there, it descended upon you like a wacky dove with a rubber chicken in its hand.
So I have always enjoyed humor and comedy, and I love it. So I don't feel like I'm super funny, especially in person, but yes, I've always enjoyed comedy.
He's got that dry humor.
Ethan wrote an entire comic about a police officer wielding an axe and chopping people's heads off. And he wrote a whole comic about bears. I don't even know what it's about. It's bears killing people.
Yeah.
So
Lots of violence.
So he has always been funny, and there's actually empirical evidence that you are funny, whereas for me, there's not.
I've worked in comics a lot. Some of you guys might know Axe Cop. I made this thing called Axe Cop, but I'm Eisner nominated, which is the Oscar of comics for humor. So I'm dignified.
Yeah.
Humorist.
My sister keeps texting me, and she says, "Yes, you are funny." So there's my.
Funny. And Kyle was you were in construction before the Babylon Bee? You're just this guy out there carrying around fire hydrants like this and I guess I'll do comedy now. Let's do this.
It almost was a bolt of lightning situation because it was. I was like, I wasn't.
Did you ever see it in your future that you'd be a comedy writer?
No.
Like that was nowhere on your. Like if somebody said, "What do you want to like?" You're the kid sitting in class in the movie Kindergarten Cop, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" What do you say?
Did that star Kirk Cameron?
No. Yeah, I forgot. You've only seen Kirk Cameron.
I've only seen Christian.
But you never saw Kindergarten Cop?
I actually did.
Oh my
I actually never saw Kindergarten Cop.
Oh man. Okay.
I'm only vaguely aware of what it is, but
okay. playing a teacher because he's an undercover cop in a kindergarten class, and they're driving him crazy, but he falls in love with them in the end.
I don't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to draw. I wanted to like be an artist.
Draw, really?
Yeah.
That's why you
I like how you jumped back, like, oh.
Have you been worshiping me this whole time? I draw.
I had this.
Do you draw? Do you have hidden drawings somewhere I haven't seen?
I had this idea for a police officer that wields a samurai sword.
I didn't even. Axe Cop was made up by my 5-year-old brother.
And then you took the. Yeah. So then I had to like be in the construction industry for the rest of my life.
You've been stalking me for years. An interesting side note is that I found Kyle online, like, as a huge fan of the Babylon Bee. I wanted to work for the Babylon Bee. By complete coincidence, we happen to live like 5 miles from each other. Like there's no other. All the other writers are spread out across. Somehow the two main contributors to the Bee live right in the same region. So I don't know if there's like maybe there's like a spiritual hilariousness cloud in this area. You should start going door to door. All right, next question. Sorry.
Southern California is. Do we just tell people where we live? So, or do we want to do that?
It could be broad. Southern California.
So, I mean, Mississippi is its own satire because it's so crazy to live in. Yes. Where we live in Mississippi.
In Hodgkins, Mississippi.
Yes.
Zip code 917939292.
Zachary Hun. He says,
that was like the most energy I've ever heard you say a word with.
He says, I love the Bee. Thanks, Zachary.
Thank you.
And he says, what is your approach for choosing what to write about? In our current political climate, some topics are almost so off limits for conversation that it's tempting to walk away when people express their views. Dude, this is a deep question.
He's going deep.
I mean, you think about this. Rather than engage with them, how do you view the role of satire as a form of media that, while not actually reporting straightforward news stories, still presents truth in a way that breaks through barriers and provides a starting place for conversation? Oh my gosh.
I got lost in there. Did you get it all?
Yes. We are very smart people, I promise. Zachary Hun wants to know how we choose what to write about. And
like, how do we not come off as fake news, or we're just...
And what is the role of satire in bringing up subjects like that and engaging, even though it's not actually true, but it speaks to true topics? Ethan?
Well, that's one thing I like. I love those stories that you guys do where it's just saying what everybody's thinking. Like, what's an example? Like, we just did one yesterday about the alt-right, about how, we've like, where the left finally admits like what they mean when they call people alt-right, and like it's basically anybody to the left of Stalin. Like, it's just such a broad. They use it for anytime they don't like somebody.
Right of Stalin.
Right of Stalin, yeah. The right of Stalin. I see. I'm bad.
This is why I'm.
This is why I have an editor.
That's why I'm the editor.
But those kinds of things where you just get to be that blatant and say like make a joke like that. But I think there is risk. Like we've done like we did the. How do you say it? There's some words that you read but you never say out loud. Ilhan Omar. Is that how you say her name?
Sure.
The lady that Frank is right. Some great art. Ilan.
I never watch news. I never watch any videos of anything, and except Lord of the Rings. And so I don't know how to pronounce anything.
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
Donald
Trump. Is he the president? Yeah. So Omar, what?
But you notice that we did a story where we've done a couple now where like it's a fake quote she didn't say. Our hope is that it's absurd enough sounding that nobody would actually say it.
Snopes
does not agree with you. And there are people who reply and they go, "What an idiot that she would say that," or "She's horrible," which is its own kind of funny because it shows that they're dumb enough to think it's real. But then it's like also then
the libs are so dumb.
Well,
look at this link.
Those ones aren't libs.
Yeah.
Those are the
but they're saying
like a hat wearing.
But that's what they say. They say that.
They're going off on how dumb the libs are. Yeah.
And then they link to a satire
and then they share it
story as if it's real. So that's always fun.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, satire. I like to say is it's not truth, but it's truth adjacent. So it's like if this were happening in a parallel universe.
Should we trademark that? Truth adjacent.
We're going to make T-shirts.
Okay.
And you can click on the link on your screen right now to purchase these T-shirts. No,
I'm truth
there's
adjacent.
No so it's like there's a parallel world, and we're writing the news on it. You know.
Somebody just called us Tony Stark and Thor. Sorry, I'm looking
Am
at
I
the
Thor?
comments.
Am I Thor?
I'm guessing you're Tony Stark.
My
I'm Fat Thor. I've been
body
called
type
Fat
is
Thor
closer
before.
to Thor, at least in
Yeah, maybe we swapped heads.
the new movie.
I don't think either of them is fat.
I was gonna say I could put on an Iron Man helmet, but
Yeah.
I think my kids might have one, but it's not around here. It's somewhere else. So.
Sorry, distraction.
Yeah, is that person a paid subscriber either?
No, I'm
okay.
sorry.
Well, then
I
we
thought
don't
I
answer
had
the
to-
questions.
Yeah, sorry. You didn't pay.
We need
Now
the
you owe
money.
us money.
We need the money. Give us the money. Show me the money.
Kyle needs more board games.
Yes.
There's
yes,
a lot
I
of
do.
board games here. All right.
There are a lot. Okay. What?
This sounds nice and simple.
This person is named Car Chase,
Is that a real name?
and I don't know if that's their email address or their name is Car Chase. So thank you for the question, Car. He says, "What's your opinion on Catholics?" I love the idea that like there's this whole like segment of thing called Catholics, and we have a opinion on it.
Yeah, that's a pretty big thing to have an opinion on. I mean, well, I will say personally, I'm a massive G.K. Chesterton fan, and he's a hardcore Catholic. So whenever I meet a Catholic, I start talking Chesterton with them because I read a lot of Chesterton. So that's my main link. I went to Catholic church for a little bit as a kid. Went through the whole catechism thing and stuff. So I actually because I have an appreciation for like the more tradition type of stuff, and I do get like personally I'm not a big fan of like modern worship type music, so like there's a lot of the old schoolness of it that I actually really appreciate. Then there's the kind of weird stuff that I don't really get on board with, some of the teachings and stuff.
So you're saying
I have like a soft spot for Catholics.
So you're
I don't
saying
hate them.
You're saying that Catholics are all going to hell?
Probably.
That is the official position of the Babylon Bee on Catholics.
I used to meet with an old man for breakfast, and he always would say, "The Catholic Church, which is satanic." It's like, he always put that in parentheses because he said he came from the Catholic Church, and anyway, that's the whole story.
All right, Justin Parks. He says, "Can there be a Babylon Bee weekend event for all your fans like me at your headquarters? Maybe a Christian humor or satire summit. I would like to attend if you ever plan something like this for your super fans."
That'd be fun.
It would be fun to do an event. We wouldn't do it at our
Massive.
headquarters because
This is it.
it's a garage.
Kyle's garage is our headquarters. Sorry to disappoint you guys in what you think it is.
Yeah. Well, there's an office somewhere, but in
There is?
Mississippi.
Yeah, somewhere in Mississippi, Kentucky.
But most of it gets written in the garage. So no, it would be a lot of fun to do something like that. We could do Comic-Con for Babylon Bee fans, and
Applecon, yeah. I was thinking a giant potluck.
a big potluck, cosplay.
Just full of probably instant mashed potatoes and ramen and stuff. I don't know what our fans make.
Casseroles,
Tons of casseroles.
hot dishes. I think the Lutherans call them hot dishes. I
That'd
might
be
be
amazing
wrong
to
on
make
that,
just a crazy spread of casseroles. It'd be like bacon and macaroni. Just all these random like casseroles that you've never heard of.
that would be fun. A chili cook-off.
I'd get fat.
But I was thinking cosplay. You could have people dress up as their favorite pastor. We could have a Joel Osteen cosplay contest. See who does the best costume.
So many possibilities.
You've been
Someday.
to Comic-Con, haven't you?
Many times.
So this could be. I go to Comic-Con, but I'm like outside the pearly gates. You know, I've never actually made it in.
Oh, you never been in on the convention
I've never made
floor?
You have to like buy the tickets that morning, and
No, not that morning. You have to buy
no,
months in advance.
that morning months
Oh,
before.
yeah.
You know,
Oh, that one specific
that one
morning. That's
morning.
right, yeah. When everybody...
It's a good thing that I'm not a professional communicator. And we've never made it in. So we're outside, you know, where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth and people trying to get in. But yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I don't know how or when we'd organize that, but definitely something that we'd love to do.
Yeah, someday. It's a dream.
Rachel Martinez says, do you use our suggestions for future articles?
Like secretly?
Just
That's a good one. Slide that one aside.
Yeah.
Put my name on it.
All of our ideas are stolen from Twitter.
Yeah. We just follow funny people, steal ideas.
No,
Repurposed.
I would say we publish a random reader submission to the email, like from the email, like, what do you think? Once a month, a couple times a month, maybe. We'll publish something that's just out of the email inbox. There's also the subscribers have access to the headline forum, and we're publishing stuff from there relatively frequently, a couple of times a week probably. So yeah, we do use suggestions for articles. I think if you post in the headline forum and your headline gets published, you get an email, so you'll know if it gets used. But yeah, we do use suggestions sometimes. It's hard to use a lot of suggestions and retain kind of the feel that we want, because if it's just an aggregator of a bunch of ideas, then it loses a lot of the, uniqueness.
We end up doing a lot of work on the submitted headlines too. It seems like we rarely use one exactly worded as it was. Yeah.
Okay. So this is our friend
Greg Scroggins.
Greg Scroggins, although at the bottom
it says Patty.
It's signed Pat.
Oh, it says Pat and then in parentheses T-Y, Patty. Is that like...
Oh, I think it has to do with the joke here, because it says, are the names Kyle Mann and Ethan Nicolle real? Or is it just the Babylon Bee's way of showing equal opportunity to androgynous, yet otherwise masculine names? What are you guys ashamed of? So this person thinks that I am overtly masculine because my last name is Mann, and it says you are gender fluid.
With my last name is Nicolle.
Because you have a girl name, Ethan.
Man, way to just put me on a spot for my embarrassing last name that I'm stuck with.
I don't know what you're trying to pull here, but I think you are up to something. Pat T.
Pat T.
I think it's like the gender neutral name, Pat. I think that's the...
So, but is this a man or what? Oh, Greg Scroggins.
That says Greg.
We don't even know. Does that deserve an answer? They're paying.
They did pay for an answer.
No, none of that's true.
Yes. It's true. All of it.
I mean, yes.
Yes.
We should talk about this stuff before we go on.
I don't think we should have done any preparation for this at all.
We didn't.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Aaron Warner says, what are your methods for developing a fake news story and ultimately choosing which ones to run? Why did you choose Babylon as your headquarters? It's so far away. Because Babylon.
We're not in Babylon, we're in Mississippi.
Office space was really expensive in Assyria. So we chose Babylon instead. Plenty of affordable housing.
Yeah.
So to choose a story and decide which ones to run is like most of my job. It's trying to pick.
He's the picker.
It
all goes through Kyle.
It's a fun process. I mean, it's literally looking and saying, is this thing worth our time, or is this something that's going to be, nobody's going to know what we're talking about? Is this something that's a universal experience that all Christians can enjoy this joke? So comedy is always, a lot of it's written by feel, or selected by feel, because you kind of have to have your finger on the pulse of what people are talking about, how a joke's going to go over or not go over. Even if like, this is an unpopular take or an unpopular opinion, if it's something we believe in, then we have to decide what's the best way to convey that and kind of cut through the noise. So we always have to weigh a lot of different things. Is this something that's going to upset a large portion of our audience? And if so, is it worth it? Because sometimes, sure, everyone's going to get upset, but it's worth it. Is this offensive just for the sake of being offensive, or is it legitimately clever? Are we treating the topic with the appropriate level of seriousness? So there's a lot of different ways that we have to look at a news story before we decide to run with it.
Yeah, and as far as process goes, like we have like a secret group of people who we kind of like we've come to know as good headline generators, people who just throw lots of ideas in all day. So we kind of have that to start with, and then we also kind of pitch things back and forth between the two of us, and also Seth, who's the owner, and so yeah, it just kind of all goes back and forth like that. So there's a lot of headlines. I mean, that's one thing a lot of people who like say, I have a headline. Why can't I write for the Babylon Bee? I have a great idea for headline. It's like every day we pitch tons of ideas, you know, between us and then the guys who are just headline pitchers and stuff. You know, the ones that actually make it in of the headlines that the two of us have probably thought of percentage-wise that actually go up and turn into articles are what, like 10% tops, like maybe even, maybe less, more like 2%. I don't know. You write a lot of waste when you're doing comedy, so we're always looking for people that have that can just pump out funny, and we can pick their best stuff. So that's a unique individual that thinks like that. They're usually weird.
Yeah, I think really early on, the kind of contributors that we were looking for and that we got, a lot of people sometimes would send like one headline or one article, you know, and a lot of comedy is like in finesse and nuance of like, is this the exact right way to word this, you know? And so sometimes it's like something wouldn't get published, and then it would turn into like that person emailing back and saying, why hasn't this been published yet? You know? And that's not really how comedy works. Like a lot of it is just like sometimes I sit there and I'll dump out 100 headlines in the forum, and then it's like, we'll use one of them, you know? So it's really a grind a lot of times. You know, people kind of think, oh, you know, your job is telling jokes on the internet. That's fun. Mm-hmm. You know, it is. It's a ton of fun. But there is a lot of work that gets you to that point to be able to write those things, I think.
Yeah, it's just more behind the scenes process of just elimination and even like, I mean, I'll submit a headline that gets everybody's like, it's great. Kyle's like, write it out the story, and then it'll go in, and then it kind of just floats in a draft folder. It could be forever, just to like, you know, because it doesn't fit. Once it's like done, it doesn't feel right with the headline with the picture, or timing wise, we're waiting for the right timing. So
yeah, I mean, an article sometimes gets 95% of the way there, mm-hmm. and then I have to make the call of pulling the trigger.
Unless Kyle's gone on vacation,
and then he just posts all the junk that I rejected.
Like, yeah.
So if you see an off day for the Babylon Bee, it's because I'm gone. No, but yeah, like things will get 95% of the way there, and they just kind of sit there, and it's like I keep clicking on them and looking at them, like, what's wrong with this? Like, what is this missing? So comedy is a lot of iteration, and we do a lot of iteration. Iterationing. This person asks if we've ever been threatened with a lawsuit. Oh, this is Donna, by the way. Donna
Hoth.
I'm going to say Hoth. Like the Star Wars planet, which you would not know about.
No. Because
you don't know Star Wars.
It sounds like a way somebody with a weird accent would say house.
Hoth. Sorry, Don. Thank you for supporting us. Please send all angry complaints to Ethan. Donna Hoff, have you ever been threatened with a lawsuit over using someone's name, like as being satire, using someone's actual name? You wrote something about a church having a spiral slide into the baptismal, and people being appalled. But I never thought if someone I always thought if someone conducted their ministry that way, then people might suspect it's true. They're probably a little off, or are people just that stupid?
It's amazing how stupid people can be.
Yeah, there is kind of a funny thing with the satire where we'll write it, and if a bunch of people take it as truth, it's almost like, well, honestly, if you're running your church in a way that people believe that you have a water slide going into your baptismal, you know, maybe it's time to take stock and rethink your life. There's been like people have emailed us before, like angry, like from
threatening lawsuit
from the subject, like the ministry or the person we're making fun of has had a representative send us an email before. It's never really gone anywhere. I mean,
so you've never been to court?
No, never been to court. There's never really been a serious lawsuit threat. You know, we get emails, people saying, "Take this down now." And if you just ignore them, it usually goes away. So
Just keep deleting the threats from the FBI.
the biggest thing was when we first started, we didn't have free images, the stock images. So we were using like Pixabay and some other sites that give you a free image, and it's just
and they say it's royalty
free.
Yeah.
Use this image for whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is like half of the pictures on there, some photographer just threw up a picture of somebody and didn't tell them like that they're now a model on the internet.
Yeah, like somebody who does like wedding photos and they just post that person's wedding photos online.
So I always sympathize with it, but we'll get emails like, hey, why is my picture on your website?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll try to. We usually try to take it down. So.
Yeah, we'll take it down and swap it out.
Because that's no fun. So that was probably the earliest controversy. Is I think we put one up and we had a screenshot of a YouTube video or something. It was very blurry. You couldn't really even tell who it was, and this company just like bombarded us like 50 emails. Like,
jeez.
I think they didn't realize that it was satire, so they thought we were like making fun of them or
trying to sabotage them.
Something like that. So yeah, we never really. Satire is pretty well protected form of speech usually. The biggest concern, honestly, other than lawsuits and stuff, is Facebook. Snopes fact checks you, and then Facebook links to their fact check, and then our article shares get squashed. We see that a lot. That's probably the bigger threat than a real like legal lawsuit or some free speech issue or something. So,
interesting.
Yeah. Okay, we're running out of questions. We're almost done here. What inspired Lisette Thomas says, what inspired the name Babylon Bee? And then she says, I have never laughed so much in my life. Please keep up the good work. I hope you're okay, Lisette.
Yeah.
Don't die.
Take a breath
of laughter. Take a breath. We need a warning on our site. If you laugh for longer than 4 to 6 hours.
Warning, and then in giant cartoony letters, hilarious content.
That's always the best way to make people laugh at your content is to tell them this is really funny.
Yeah, we're thinking of putting like in giant parentheses on every article, satire.
Satire.
Just so people know it's satire. We should put hilarious satire, just to make sure people know it's hilarious too.
I used to write for video game websites, and this one...
You should admit that publicly.
I know. The only thing worse than a sports journalist is a video game journalist. So I wrote... we would write little satire pieces because we wanted to, but the site owners were like, "No, you have to label it." So it's just like satire joke, Mm-hmm. And then before it in bold letters it says, "This article is a joke." It's like it ruins the whole.
At the very end of the article, in the same level, same size of font, just put JK right at the last two letters of the article.
It could be like a telegram, like after every sentence,
JK
instead of like stop.
Yeah.
JK.
There you go.
But what inspired the name Babylon Bee? I don't really know.
That was out of our control.
It's a terrible name, and I wish Adam would not have selected it. No, the name Bee comes from like a newspaper, like Sacramento Bee. So there was one name that Adam almost picked. It was something like real generic, like Christian Journal or something. It was like. And I think Babylon Bee fit the satirical nature a little better. Babylon is kind of, obviously living in a place that's kind of increasingly secular. Like, as Christians, as sometimes it feels a lot like, we're living in Babylon. So I think that's kind of the general idea. But I don't know, that could be completely wrong. So
we'll never know because Adam doesn't answer questions.
We'll never know.
He's very mysterious.
He doesn't exist.
We made him up.
In a way, we are all
Adam Ford.
He's watching this just going, stop talking about me, please. So, sorry. All right, a couple more questions. Megan Rinke, who happens to be
Rinke? That's how you say that? Rinke?
I know, because she's my sister.
Oh, okay.
And she happens to be my sister, and she emailed me.
Okay.
I want you to notice that my sister
is a subscriber?
Is a paid subscriber. I told her I would make more money if she just handed me $5 a month, but... She's still subscribing, so
she's actually paying, yeah.
She says, "Are you going to delete the Babylon Bee group, please?" So we launched a Babylon Bee Facebook group, and we had no idea what we were getting into.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as mentioned,
yeah, I think that like
Ragnarok is coming for you.
Like the Babylon Bee has been such like a cryptic organization for so long. There's no faces, there's no names, and we're trying to figure out how to come out from behind that curtain a bit for those who want to. Like, I think there's going to be some people that just like that. They just want the articles. They don't want this stuff. We're probably going to be moving this stuff to a YouTube channel, so it'll be more optional. Keep things kind of separated out, but podcasts and stuff like that. So there's people who like the behind the scenes. They want to, hear the behind the stories and jokes, and we're trying to reach out and figure that out. And one thing I've learned is I've just come on staff with the Babylon Bee the last month, and really seen the workings. I mean, just posting the amount of articles they post every day and dealing with the ins and outs of running a website and the amount of traffic and emails and stuff that come in. That is in itself is so much work. Like, that makes sense to me why they don't do a lot of this stuff. So that's one reason we're trying to figure that out. So we love getting feedback and what kinds of ways you like that. So the group is one way for you guys to interact with each other. Which one thing I would like to say right now, I read almost the comments all the time, and yeah, there's some idiots in there, but there's some hilarious commenters. And some people are probably funnier than we are in that.
That's why we need to delete the group.
Yeah, we delete anybody who's funnier than we are has to be deleted.
So they'll think we're funny still. Yeah, we kind of
we're just organized. Really, we're not funny.
We were just having a casual conversation, and Facebook announced that your feed is going to see more groups. That's what they said. You're not going to see stuff from pages as much. They want you now. I like how Facebook changes this every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
What people want is groups, and they just throw groups in your feed. And I kind of liked it when it was separate and you could click on your groups. But now it's now just in the feed. So we were like, well, let's create a Babylon Bee Facebook group. Maybe we'll get more interaction. We can share some of our stories there. And it was just
It was like
it was a flood.
it was like a wall, like a dam, and you just tap a little hole in it, to see what's going on in there. I was like,
when the levee breaks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it was. It was just
Are we allowed to say that word on this podcast?
Dam?
Yeah.
It's like the darn broke.
Darn broke.
And this flood of people came in, and it's got 12,000 people in it.
Already, it's been out for less than a week, right?
And it was since Facebook was showing more stuff in your feed, people are joining the group and then just seeing post. It was just this freaking. I mean,
they seem to be having fun in there though.
Thing.
I feel like I'll peek in on the group and it's like I'm peeking in on a gymnasium of people going insane, just biting each other and throwing balls at each other and whipped cream and pies. And
close the door behind them.
And I'm like, they're having fun, and then I just close it.
It's like when you have someone over and they have kids.
Yeah.
And you just poke your head in.
You put all the kids, your families get together, put all the kids in one room, trying to.
Is everybody playing nice?
Keep making sure nobody's dead in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, no.
Lots of rich analogies for the group.
It's going to be destroyed. Okay, and then Benjamin Miller emails and he says, "Please delete the group."
It could happen.
I love how this Q&A just turned into this
Oh, we're now getting all these Q&A new ones?
They're coming in now. Subscribers emailing us saying,
we gave them a week to send these questions.
A week to send questions, and now they say.
So maybe to top it off, why don't we just answer just one or two?
Yeah, we'll hit a couple of comments.
From the comments, then we're going to say goodbye. We got 10 more. We could do 10 more. It's
But if we answer your question, you are legally obligated
to
subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
God is watching you.
All right, I'm gonna read a random one. I'm looking for a question mark though. Everybody's talking to each other because they don't think we're gonna answer them. So they're all talking to each other.
No, they don't even care about us.
Darn broke.
Watch our video.
LOL at a shirt saying the darn broke.
Oh, they're just riffing on our jokes. That's what they do in the comments. We make a funny joke and they just riff on our joke.
Kathy loves the Babylon Bee. Thanks, Kathy Romer. There's a Babylon Bee FB group. Runs off to jump over the darn and into the water. Susan Cooper. I like that. That's a good joke and that's funny. Yes, there is. It should be the top post on the page now at this moment. Mandy says she doesn't get anything done.
All right. Well.
Yeah, I don't see any questions specifically.
Isn't this guy a subscriber, Titus? Titus Belgar.
We answered him, I think, right?
Yeah, he says
That's a good name. Is he like a Viking or something?
He says the Onion has jumped the shark.
I am Titus Belgar.
The Onion's kind of funny. I like the Onion.
Yeah, we like the Onion. Please dab. Also, I will not dab.
Sarah says, can we have... I think Sarah's one of our moderators in the group. She says, can we have a board game night sometime? Yes.
Yeah, we're thinking of talking about doing like a watch party type where we make fun of, or not make fun of, but commentary on like Left Behind or something.
Oh, we would love to do like
another dab. The stupid dab. My kids are into this dabbing thing. It's just...
What? Please dab, and I will subscribe.
We are not. Said that.
We are not going to dab.
Yeah, we're Christians. Do you like hugs? Okay. Christian satire or satire that's Christian?
We don't answer that guy.
Yeah, we don't answer the F word, Frank.
So this guy is... Does he want us to tell people who he is?
I don't know. He's never admitted publicly that he writes for us, so maybe we shouldn't.
There's a guy that...
Yeah, does anybody ever read the articles that go with headlines?
Do people read the articles?
No.
No. Yes, but no. We need more people to read the articles because
they're funny.
We put a lot of work into making the article at least as funny as the headline, and most people just read the headline. It's the curse of this kind of comedy because the headline has to be really funny, and we do appreciate the share or the comment or the like. But reading it is, honestly, that was how we made our money for the first 2 years of the Babylon Bee, was just people clicking on the articles. So when people were just, you'd see one that got 10,000 shares on Facebook and like nobody read it. Like that happens. So we always need people to click and look. And but I mean, now we have subscribers.
That's
that
true.
helps
Yeah,
too,
if you're not a subscriber and you're like, I'm so poor, just click and look at the article because then you get the link view. Or if you really want to be nice, click on some of the ads.
Yeah. Well, just click a bunch of times, like
every ad you can.
What was that Simpsons thing where he had the
little bird?
The little bird.
I didn't see it, but I'm just guessing that's the joke.
Yeah, I think it was on. He was like running the nuclear plant or something. Kirk Cameron wasn't in it, so I don't really know the details. But
yeah, I didn't know you were allowed to watch The Simpsons.
I wasn't. I was not allowed to watch The Simpsons. I'm still not allowed to watch The Simpsons. So I hope my mom.
I hope your parents are watching this.
Isn't watching this because I'll get in trouble. But I would go to my friend's house and.
This is interesting. Have you ever had someone reach out looking for information on Jesus or Christianity? Like they saw Larry's article and they're like,
no.
What's our conversion rate?
We will have people reach out and say, this article really encouraged me, or I never thought about that way, or thank you for pointing that out. So I do think it does have an effect, but yeah, people don't really reach out and say, what must I do to be saved?
Yeah. I do see our comments sometimes from people who clearly aren't in the church or whatever, but they actually appreciate that that Christians are able to like not take themselves so seriously, and we make jokes about our own, which I think are the best jokes from Christians.
Yeah.
If you're joking about the church and you've never really been to church and you just hate it for some reason, your jokes are horrible.
Yeah. One reason the Bee was created was because so much of the church humor was like horrible, just.
Like that lady on Stephen King's The Mist. Was it Stephen King's The Mist? Or The Fog? The Mist?
It's like character in every Stephen King novel.
There's always that Baptist lady that's like, you're all sinners!
I like Stephen King, but go to church, Stephen King. Go to church.
Just for research, at
Please.
least. Do some research, Stephen King. Does Kirk Cameron subscribe? Have you heard from him? Have we ever heard from Kirk Cameron?
I have a radio clip of Kirk Cameron where the radio host sent it to us, where they read him some Babylon Bee headlines or something.
He's weeping,
and he was laughing his head off, and he says he loves that we make fun of him. So
I just love those. I just love those Babylon Bee guys. That was my Kirk Cameron impression.
That was a very good Kirk Cameron impression. So he is aware of the Babylon Bee. We were kind of brutal on him, but. I don't know. You think he deserves it? I don't know. I think he's probably a really good guy, better than we are, and we're just the guys that are making jokes. So.
Whoa, brakes! Put the brakes on. This guy just noticed you said you like Stephen King. I don't.
Do I have a Stephen King? Look, I've got a Stephen King novel.
You're gonna. Oh, subscribers are going down.
And I will burn this live.
There's only one king in the kingdom of God, and it's not the guy named Stephen.
If you all will subscribe. If we get 5,000 more paid subscribers, I will burn all of my Stephen King books.
A guy whose name starts with F says, has Stephen King ever reached out for information on how to be saved?
All right, this is just dumb.
This is getting dumb, yeah.
No, but I was kind of hoping I'd get a mention. We did an article about how he wrote a horror novel about how the Supreme Court got a conservative justice or something. You know, I was hoping it was a loving enough poke that he would give us a shout out. We got nothing.
Oh yeah, he didn't really. Yeah,
he was probably crying and wiping his tears with his boatloads of cash. So
who's the most quote unquote famous person? Brianna Courtbean asks that has honored you with their commentary other than Ben Shapiro. So she's saying Ben Shapiro is the cream of the crop.
I don't know if we should admit.
Yeah, who should admit you?
We got a share from.
Yeah, who are the.
Donald Trump Jr.
Yeah, Donald Trump Jr. That's probably the biggest,
Donald
just because
Trump.
he's the son of the president.
Junior.
I assume, because it's Junior.
He's got a lot of followers on social media. He posts memes and stuff, so I think he gets a lot of.
What a weird world we live in, where it's the president's son is on social media posting memes, and you're one of those memes. The weirdest thing, I think...
It made me rethink my life a little bit, honestly. No,
one of the weirdest ones is that because we are literally working in a garage right now. Like, this is a literal garage.
Yeah.
Like, unfinished wall. Like, there's a garage door right there. Cars could park right where we are right now, just to be clear. But we were sitting here, and Kyle got this... I don't know how you found out about it. I don't even know if we watched the video here specifically, but it was when, it's from here. They read a line from one of Kyle's articles in the Senate.
Oh, yeah.
When they were...
it was about...
You could tell.
Twitter censorship.
Yeah.
So someone read an article from one of our... read a line from one of our articles in the Senate.
To make a point, yeah. Before the whole Senate, they're like, as the Babylon Bee says.
Yeah. As
that was a bizarre feeling, right?
And he's just reading it like monotone. He's like, as quoted in the satirical Babylon Bee. It's like, oh my gosh. We got Senator Rand Paul has shared our stuff. Ben Sass.
He's a libertarian. He's excited about that.
There was some article we did that was getting passed around in the Senate and Congress. I forget which one it was, but people were sharing it. So it's always funny when you're like, I wrote this article in my garage. Mm-hmm. I just came up with it a few minutes ago, and it's getting passed around the Senate. So that's always like eye-opening. Like, wow, the reach is like much greater than we feel like it should be. Because
wild.
We're just making jokes on the internet. But all right, well, thank you so much for joining us today. We have to go make funny jokes on the internet.
This is historical. This is the very first live stream that the Babylon Bee has done, correct?
Yeah. And we will probably do more unless this is horrible and you guys all hate it.
And this will be, I think the plan right now is we're going to make it a bit more of a subscriber specific thing. Every once in a while we'll do kind of a, I think we'll do something like this, a promotional live on the Facebook. But if you like this kind of thing, want to get in on this kind of thing more often, check out the subscription. It's going to keep growing. And thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us, friends. God bless you. And
sorry if it was disappointing that we're two unkempt gentlemen in front of board games this whole time.
We're just going to lose all of our followers.
Yeah.
I thought you guys were...
I wonder what they had pictured us to be like. All right.
See ya.
All right. I guess I'm the guy who has to stop it.
You have to click the button, dude.
Yeah. All right. Goodbye. We are stopping the stream.
Now.